All right, Dan. My boyfriend told me something I'm having a hard time believing. While y'all are young slash broke straight men don't share beds on vacation.
Yes.
Is this true, Dan? Speak for the young and broke straight men.
Okay, you're
I'm not
referring
broke. I don't know
to
anything about
you're
that.
referring to one specific time when we shared a bed in Tennessee. Aren't you?
I was baiting the question of Monteagle, Tennessee, when
Yeah.
I awakened in a strange Faulknerian cabin to Dan in bed with me, just laughing hysterically. Like that was how I was awakened
Well,
in a
because it
place
was
I'd never
funny.
fucking
We
been.
were sharing a bed so we were going to we were coming back from Bonnaroo, and we stayed in a cabin in Tennessee thinking we were getting a hotel room, but we in fact got a cabin, and it had a jacuzzi like in the fucking, it was like a studio apartment with a jacuzzi in the fucking living room. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I soaked my like bloody feet in that after like 4 days of wandering around on drugs at a music festival.
Yeah. So no, I would say that tweet is incorrect.
Okay.
Do you have any other social media updates, or can we start the show?
I think it's time to start the show.
What about that other one that you pulled about
All right. I got another one
come on,
for you, Dan.
feed the hogs.
If you are a single cis man over 35, what does your bed look like? And why is it just a full mattress sitting on a metal bed frame with one maroon bottom sheet?
Yeah.
Who let the hogs out?
So this is Hog Planet. I'm Dan Spaventa, joined by Sam Lewis. Sam, I happen to think that I have a bed frame. So what's the frame? Is the
You
frame
have a
just
nice
like,
bed frame. Dan has like you got like the
it's like
Bed Bath
wooden?
and Beyond looking thing with like the
Oh, it's
head.
IKEA.
Okay, you got the headboard. Like it's looking pretty good. I don't know. I think you're not included in that tweet. I actually do. I'm married, but I do have a metal bed frame. I don't have a maroon
Wow.
bed sheet.
Wow. So you're just a typical cis white. What is cis het?
What is cis het? It's
cis hetero. Oh,
yeah,
see,
cisgender.
in my head, I was like, I was ready to like one word, and I was like, what does that mean?
Well, listen, we don't need these petty divisions between us as dudes, I guess. But
yes,
no, I had to pull out some of those delirious tweets because we it is happening again, as they say in Twin Peaks. We've got more of the like, you know, what do you call a group of straight white men? A podcast, like kind of joke.
Yeah, it's just that terrible, like I don't know, like lowest common denominator, sort of like vaguely, I guess, trying to sound like feminist-y, but it's I don't know, like I don't want to like say it's like I don't want to say it's exclusively that the you know, feminist online people, but it seems like it's kind of like a very specific type of account who's seeking clout but hasn't realized that this you know, this bit has been done a million times.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of times when
Sorry, it took
people
me forever to
make
spit that one out, folks.
either way, I don't know.
But you'll
In
be
general,
happy I did.
we don't have thin skin about this. We're not like offended. It's just like It's very funny how, I don't know, hacky. There we go. Yeah, this is my main feeling about it. Is it's like a time of the year. It's mid-July. It's getting hot and humid out there. It's time for us to hear about what the cis white men over 35 are doing. Like all the qualifiers, just to make sure that it's only directed at like one person in
It is
particular.
happening again.
So much effort just for that.
I mean, that guy definitely maroon bed sheet for sure.
That guy could be in Maroon 5. He's hot. um yeah, that guy definitely has good sheets. Anyone in the Lynchian universe is like Blue Velvet, for example, a lot of good cloth in that feature film there. So I don't know, bed sheet discourse, white men are podcast discourse. It comes from a place of like Tumblr wokeness. Am I wrong?
I would say so, but I
So
think it
maybe
also comes
feministy is
from
wrong, but more like the sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
my pet theory on this is that if you want to say my boyfriend doesn't have a top sheet, then it's not going to get as much traction on the internet as if you say no men have top sheets. Like I'm just like that's where I think it's coming from. It's just we're all so desperate to like have our viral moment. People will do fucking anything. I mean, we'll put ourselves up on YouTube and like smoke weed on a podcast for attention, it's not only the ladies doing it,
No,
but
we suck too. We are white guys doing a podcast, but you know what? It's fun.
it's what are we supposed to, I always
I'm
say
just trying to like fucking live,
I always say
and
it would be so
be creative. It's like, what are we supposed to have a band? How old are we? It's like, what am I supposed to do? Go to like a poetry night? Like, I'm not doing that shit.
I think you would crush it at the poetry night
I would be
personally.
very good at that.
Yeah, I mean, anytime. I think it's way better than the doing what stand up. Come on.
Oh my god, hell no. I spend way too much of my life listening to stand up for work, and not as fun as it sounds. If you can believe it, most stand up is bad.
The only other one of these posts that I have to discuss, even though as you told me before recording, this is going to be forgotten in like 2 days, is the post where a woman claims to have bought a used Charles Bukowski book of poetry and found notes in it from like a woke lady. And one of the notes is like, go to therapy, dummy.
Yeah.
Like, so at the
Why
time
is
of writing,
therapy like weaponized in this way now as like a way to like own, I don't know, like canceled writers? Like
yeah.
I'm just like, David Foster Wallace, you need therapy.
Yeah, what it's like owning people who ostensibly have mental illness by saying they're not getting their
By
mental
saying they're not
illness treated.
you hey, David Foster Wallace, you're a diabetic and didn't go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you're just a cis het. I mean, yeah, David Foster Wallace did some pretty bad stuff. I think he threw a woman out of a moving car or something. He's not a great fella, but it doesn't mean you can't read the damn books without like writing notes in the margins like son, you need to take 2 seats.
Yeah. Looks like someone forgot to take their SSRIs, but no, like also like but therapy in Charles Bukowski's era, like what's he's gonna get like a lobotomy or like they're gonna prescribe him some kind of like opiate or something. Like what the come on, shut up. Like,
yeah,
this is very hacky, but
I've seen this kind of thing on Twitter like a million times, so I'm just like, who fucking it just is like, it's funny how people repeats the cycles of discourse, and it's like they act like it's like they just figured this out, and I think we would all benefit from them just stopping doing that.
And I don't even care, honestly. Like it's so the joke. If someone's gonna listen to this and be like, oh, these two men are like offended because of like women making jokes about men. Oh, they have such thin skins, like and all this shit. I honestly, you can keep making these jokes as much as you want. I find it It's funny and not in the way that it's intended. It's funny to see people, you know, misandry is like a phase that like kids go through when they're in their like late 20s or something. Like if you don't grow out of it by the time you're in your 30s, like writing off like a whole subset of humanity, then I don't know. Then it's just you just become a comedic figure to me. So keep it up. I don't give a shit.
Should we pivot to like the men's rights, like the pickup artistry? Is that a lane for us to maybe get some advertisers?
Listen, if there's ever been two like just absolute like pussy getters on a podcast together, it's us. So I think that
Yeah,
could be good for us.
I would think so. I listen. I'm not telling you what to do, Sam, but it's always on the table. We could make the pivot. But speaking of making the pivot, let's pivot to the damn story about the damn boats.
Okay.
So I just found this story in New York Magazine in their curbed section about the denizens of the boat basin in, I believe it's the Upper West Side, right?
Yeah, the 79th Street boat basin.
And it's basically a story of people bemoaning a past New York that is now gone. They are lamenting that the conditions at the marina are not as hospitable as they once were, that the wakes are hitting the boats harder, and the city is now telling them that it's unsafe to even have the damn boats there.
Yeah, so this boat basin was like a Robert Moses project from the 30s. And apparently, I'll quote from the article: the whole seawall is condemned. The wakes are coming through and killing us. Sea Dock has been sinking for 20 years. Every time we have a storm, the gangways fly around. They had to be chained to the dock, and then the chains break. The deterioration is accelerating. So also the last time this place was dredged was in 1958.
Oh
Like
my!
it's
What kind of barnacles
like
are
the
hanging on
Hudson
there?
River was dredged more recently than this fucking thing. So
What is the
yeah,
process of dredging? What
it's
does
when
that
you
entail?
they like dredge up like the pollutants and shit from the bottom of the water of the sea, the
Ew.
riverbed.
So when it was in the 50s, you said?
Yeah, they clean out the bed by scooping out mud, weeds, and rubbish with a dredge. Like the dredge
But
is
you
the
said it hasn't
actual
been done since
object
the
that does it.
1950s?
No, and that sort of stuff I think is important for like anchoring boats and like other boat shit. I don't know. I'm not the right in the right income bracket to be talking about boat ownership, but or maintenance. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with here is because like obviously we're not here to talk about, we're not like this is an engineering podcast. We're not talking about like boat culture here. What it is interesting is that like all these people are in their like set like 80s basically. The main guy who's like the center of this is this guy Ed Bacon, who, I mean, he strikes me as kind of a king in a strange bygone way, but
I
it's all
think you
these
can
people.
describe him. I just want to say before you get into this deeper, I just want to say that Ed Bacon is an extremely divorced individual. I don't think you could. I don't think you could use any word more aptly to describe this man than divorced.
Absolutely. And he's been chronicling this bizarre boat basin culture because a lot of people, he's one of the people who live on their boats like full time. They're not just like parking the boat there and then going to their, apartment or whatever. They're living at the boat. And so this guy arrived in 1970 from the Jersey suburbs, shout out. And he had just gone through a divorce. His wife and son had moved to Manhattan. So he moved there to maintain custody. But at the same time, he said,
Always the
quote, at that
custody.
time, there were a lot of guys who were divorced here. It was a divorcee's heaven.
Divorcees have. I like when you call the male a divorcee.
It makes it sound there's something about the French pronunciation just makes it sound kind of effeminate. So I don't know, maybe it's kind of funny from that perspective. But I don't know. Divorcee's heaven. Maybe that should be the title of our podcast. Even though neither of us has ever been divorced, I just feel like we could.
There's definitely a divorced like a podcast about divorce.
Oh hell yeah! It's an interesting topic. It's a cataclysmic event in people's lives. But
Yeah. but I mean, these boats, this guy, extreme hog. I
He's a
would,
complete hog. I mean, he's
I
sympathetic. He's a sympathetic
that's
hog in many ways.
and we've said that is definitely a thing, that there are certainly these revolting hogs that are also sort of sympathetic, and I think we got one right here. So did he have more to say on kind of like, because I remember seeing in that article there was one guy who was like, he worked for Mad Magazine, and he's like, Mad Magazine had all their parties on this base and we used to get pretty wild. So like, did this guy Ed have anything more to say about like the parties that would
Well,
happen on these
so
boats? 'Cause
the
I feel
guy
like
you just mentioned, the Mad Magazine writer, was Dick DiBartolo. And he said that, yeah, he's like, I had all the Mad Magazine parties. I had a disco ball on my boat. like, but also they said like Richie Havens lived on the dock. Plenty of like people from old time movies. And they just formed this interesting community of like liveaboards, the people who live full time on their boats, and like all these people who come through. And I don't know, I see like a lot going on here because there's nothing more hoggish, like you said, than living on your boat. But like, I think they're coming in conflict with the current hog of New York City, who is like, some foreign billionaire who owns one of those like horrifying glass, like penthouse suites that cost like 150 million, and like no, it never sets foot in it. It's just a big capital stink. And they build more and more of that shit every day. Like, these are the old rich people of a certain age who are being the hogs who are being displaced by like the even fatter hogs in the age of like global, like unfettered capital.
yeah, I would say a lot of home ownership in the city is money laundering, but you can't really do much about it when you're just your everyday divorcee on a boat, living on your boat. You're up against the current of new money and new old money pouring into I don't know, because I think of like, when I say that, I just mean like, there's a lot of people here who's like buy apartments for their kids. I feel like that's more, maybe it was still a thing like in, back in the day, but it seems like it's more of a thing now where like rich people will buy apartments for their kids just to kind of like throw money at something, and then it's like people just don't pay rent.
I know plenty of people who are like, oh, we just bought an apartment in New York City in a great neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I know what you do for a living. You didn't buy a fucking apartment. Like, I don't hold against you, but you didn't buy
No,
it.
listen, it's fine.
Come on,
We love our
it's
rich
fine.
friends. We love our rich friends.
I do think it's funny that this guy Chris Williamson lives aboard an antique boat known as a 1911 Trumpy, spelled like Trumpy Bear.
Ugh. Now, is there more to say about this sort of like bygone culture? Like, what has been lost, if you were to quantify it, like, or qualify? Is that quantify, or is quantify a number
I'm not
thing?
quantifying shit. This isn't some accounting
Qualifying,
podcast. Yeah, no,
qualify
to
it.
qualify it, I don't know. To me, it strikes me as like, I think New York has had the longest gentrification process, and this is just like, it shows how advanced this in its process of gentrification in New York is, that like people like this are getting priced out, like these like boat owning layabouts, like who otherwise they strike me as like, I can't imagine having that kind of like privilege, I guess, or like amount of money or a boat or something like that. But even they are not really, they can be displaced or pushed out by the city, not because a big part of this is also like the New York City Parks Department doesn't want to invest in this basin anymore, because they're like, it's falling apart, and it's like, let's just fucking chuck it, which is I think the attitude that a lot of cities have towards old things that are hard to maintain or repair, except for y'all's subway system, which you'll never
Great
replace because it's too
subway,
big.
love it.
Yeah.
Always works, always on time.
I mean, it's a historical marvel that you have to rely on in the present era because it's like one of the oldest. I mean, imagine that in like the early
Look,
20th century. It must have been insane.
you can get a lot of places in New York with the subway. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
very good,
And you've been able
compared
to
to
for a
most
long
cities.
time, but
And it's just they don't fix anything. But hey, it's New York. Oh, let's give an update let's go across the country. Unless you got more on this, I think we've said enough about the boaters. Unless there's further to explore here that you
We
see.
nailed it.
All right, let's move forward to the an update on a story we talked about the other week. According to LAPD Chief Michael Moore, the LAPD bomb squad estimated that there were 16.5 pounds of explosives in the truck of fireworks. According to the ATF, there were actually 42 pounds of explosives. So 16.5 and 42. Now, that's not the same.
No. It's like 3 times as much. not quite 3 times as much,
Yeah.
but like good bit more than they said they had. And I don't know, this is making my third eye open wider. If you'll recall, when we covered this in the past, I was like, it's so interesting that the cops accidentally blew up like a city block in a black neighborhood. It's just so surprising that happened on accident. What a tragedy. This is making me think like, okay, so well, you guys just miscounted or what? Like, what the fuck is going on? This is so stupid. Every day we cover like stories about hogs, and of course, like some of the greatest hogs are cops. And this one really, I don't know. Like, what are they fucking even doing out there?
Not to mention it's Michael Moore's a cop now.
Yeah. I'm deep cover in the LAPD. Uh, for whatever.
You're gonna
reason.
blow up these fireworks so we can get some extra eyeballs on us so we can get them to talk about Flint. Somehow that's connected. I don't know. God damn it. Yeah, so and that's from CBS Los Angeles. Thank you for the update. And also the other story is called Twilight of the Liveaboards, and it's by Kim Velsey in Curbs, that the section in the New Yorker magazine, not the New Yorker, New York Magazine. It's an interesting article, and we also appreciate the update on that story. But let's talk about the penis guys.
Yeah, in our endless search for hogs around the world, we have discovered a certain kind of hog, which is the hog who severely injures himself while jacking off.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, isn't it?
Jacking off should be a thing of joy, not pain.
I mean, don't they say it's like, it's a healthy habit. It's good for the prostate. Right?
That's what I always heard, but
okay. So, but when you're a sex addicted California man, suing Twitch for $25 million because of the gamer girls, he says he injured his genitals and destroyed his computer while using the streaming device. Now, I don't even want to know what destroyed the computer, because it sure wasn't the Twitch app or website.
Maybe this guy was not doing it right. Maybe he was just like,
I just am wondering, like, what was the I wanted to say acoustics, but what is the sort of physics of this?
What is the resonance?
Did he launch up just like, whoa?
No, I'm thinking he like doesn't know what he's doing and is like smacking his dick against the side of the computer or something and broke it. And just I want to make sure that people
like
don't
like smacking,
like glaze. Yeah, exactly. I want to make sure we don't just blow past the crux of his legal argument is that Twitch is at fault for exposing him to lots of hot ladies on like gamer channels, and it's like he has no choice but to jack off, and he like is addicted to it or something, and it made him hurt himself in completely. We have no, I guess it's because it's a lawsuit, the details are going to be sealed and we're going to have to wait to find out what exactly the nature of the penal injury was. But I guess we'll have to just follow up with this story.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for this. Now his name is Eric Estavillo from San Francisco, and yeah, he's taken it to Amazon. Maybe this guy has the right idea about fighting Jeff Bezos. and going straight to the source, Twitch, which took his penis away.
Yeah, the way he put it in the suit is Twitch has extremely exacerbated his condition by displaying many sexually suggestive women streamers through Twitch's twisted programming and netcode, making it nearly impossible for the plaintiff to use Twitch without being exposed to such sexual suggestive content.
He follows 786 streamers on Twitch, all of whom are women.
Come on, man. Like, this is creative though. Because we've been hearing endlessly from conservatives. You remember like in the Bush years, the culture war was all about like, you can't turn on the TV without seeing all this violence and stuff like that. Now this is like an angle they could have gone with, like, oh, it like has physical effects on young men. Like they can't be exposed to this or else they will just spontaneously jack off and injure themselves.
Yeah. So this is like an incel thing, right?
I guess it's not fair to assume maybe he has a loving girlfriend and also injured himself masturbating. I don't want to say the two are mutually exclusive.
Some sort of Arthur Chu situation where the doting, you can be like a disgusting gamer and then still have like a doting wife who's like long suffering, you know that whole Arthur Chu, the guy who won Jeopardy, like, and he was real gross.
Yeah, he has like really nasty tweets about women, but
but he was also like physically gross. He had some stuff about like, I don't know, gross shit with like covered in food, computers, Cheetos, and I don't know. I'm sure you could find examples of this. We don't have to get into Arthur Chu. I didn't prep for this, so it's deep. It's filed deep away in my filing cabinets of dumb shit from the internet. Now, do you have something there, Sam?
No, the only thing I have is that I googled pictures of Arthur Chu, and he's nasty looking.
Can you share the screen that?
You know what I'm gonna do.
He's gonna background it. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
all right. So while you're doing that, let's push forward here. I think he broke the toilet. I think he like actually broke him and his wife's toilet. Like physically like broke the porcelain. I don't think I'm making that up either. God, R.I.P. Trebek.
Yeah. That's why. No, I mean,
you feel like you can't cover him with your head, right?
No, I have to be just square in the middle. My back is actually like kind of like not. I don't know. I'll see if I can hold this up.
For the majority of the listeners of this show who are not the YouTube viewers, that is Sam is nestled in between an image of Arthur Chu and Alex Trebek.
It's not ideal. I'm working to remedy the situation here.
No, but what was the other jerking off story? Man almost masturbates himself to death.
This is much better. I don't have to posthumously ruin Alex Trebek's good name.
No, that would be unacceptable. Yeah, that is much better. So what do you have to say about, and we gotta hand it to the New York Post. This fellow redefined, quote, mind-blowing sex after he suffered a life-threatening stroke while repeatedly masturbating. Well, I mean, a hog is someone who seeks this kind of I don't know, hedonistic lifestyle. What do we even call such a thing when you jack yourself off and you get a stroke?
I feel like we use the word self-satiated to describe the hogs, but I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, are you it's almost like
I don't think he's ever satiated.
Yeah, damn. Like I just here, I'm gonna put it up. I found pictures, like there's like pictures of the brain injury that he absolutely this is it. Like he's like he's got like these big ass lesions and ruptured blood vessels in his brain from just cranking it way too hard.
fuck.
And of course, maybe he was thinking about me. But that's what I'm trying to say with this visual tableau I'm giving you right now.
Oh, I love that. So he was jacking off, thinking about your, mustache and beard combination, and that caused him to furiously tug himself until he was no more in the head. I mean, what do we have to say anything else?
I mean, I just want to clarify, like, he got a subarachnoid hemorrhage, which is a potentially fatal type of stroke. Like he stroked himself into a stroke. I can't. Society is really bleak these days. I think we are really alienated if men are like
Okay,
jacking themselves.
I
to
don't want to be
death.
racist, but like, he's from Japan.
Oh, please, no. Come on. I was trying to leave that detail out. Listen,
No, come
nothing but love for
on.
the Japanese people.
Nothing but
And
love for the Japanese people. That's not what this is about. I'm just saying, like, isn't there some sexual repression in their male culture?
I think so. And then there's also like the Hikikomori people. Like they
Yes.
have like OG incels over there who like,
Yes.
the Hikikomori like don't leave. And there's other words for like
You
people
could
who
argue that
like,
that's where the whole QAnon movement bubbled from, that sort of thing in Japan. It all kind of started with the
so we're now
incels in
blaming
the
QAnon on the
no,
Japanese.
on
We're already
on the
we're
incels
saying
in
they
Japan.
jack off furiously and giving themselves strokes, and also they cause Q. All right, apologies to the nation of Japan for this
Oh, stop
podcast.
it. We have nothing to apologize for. I'm not saying anything about the people of the nation. I'm saying it about this subgroup of incels who is so well known that they have a name.
It's true. But
Um,
also, if the Japanese country is going to bar one of us from coming to the country, then make it him, not me.
I'm fine with that. I would rather you go, honestly.
I'll report back.
I love the Japanese. What? I have no issues with even this man who broke his dick.
Oh boy.
I mean, I guess this is considered a freak accident. But I don't want to call this man a freak.
Freak
you know
with
what
two
he is?
E's accident.
You know what he is? He's just a human being.
He's also a hog.
I thought that would have been the too easy thing to say.
Oh God.
All right. So
All right.
what do we got
Well,
next?
can we go in on a different country now? It's time to go in on Israel.
Oh, sure. The ice cream fucking pogrom, right?
Yeah. So first, what Eve Fartlow was the victim of the worst anti-Semitism that the 21st century has ever seen, when people decided to call her Eve Fartlow repeatedly on Twitter, and she likened this to a social media pogrom. But now we've seen another brutal incident of anti-Semitism. Ben and Jerry's, noted self-loathing Jews, have decided that they will end sales of their ice cream in the occupied Palestinian territory.
Kings.
Which is my first thought was like imagining being in occupied Palestine and getting like a pint of Chubby Hubby.
They're doing more. They're doing more for the BDS movement than Bernie.
I mean, it's not a small thing for sure.
It's big. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Probably even more. This is a bigger deal than anything like AOC or any. And I'm not saying AOC has a lot of like power over what happens in Israel, because it's really not. Like people who go in on AOC about every little thing. It seems a little misguided sometimes, because it's like, I don't think she's like that kind of power that the senator
what were you
has.
expecting from her?
I mean, exactly. I mean, she's above average, and that's what more can you fucking ask from a congressperson? But you look at what Ben and Jerry did. Now, this got people talking.
Yeah.
I mean, people were very upset about this. I mean, and then didn't they flock to the Haagen-Dazs or something? And then it turns out that the Haagen-Dazs, I think it was.
I'm pretty sure it was owned by like the Nazis. I'm pretty sure. Well, let me not slander the Haagen-Dazs Corporation, but I'm
It sure sounds like it.
here we go. Wait a minute. All right, never
Haagen-Dazs.
mind. I might be wrong on this.
Okay.
More
All right, you
research.
you do the research and I'll vamp a little bit. So Ben and Jerry, they took the ice cream out of Israel. They said we will not, or no, in occupied Palestine. They said we are taking the ice cream out of occupied Palestine and we will not sell it there. And you know, under capitalism, it's a free fucking it's free market, free trade, free not free trade, free
Okay.
yes.
Listen, I was completely wrong about Haagen-Dazs. It was founded by a Polish immigrant in the U.S. who named it after wanted it to sound Danish, and did that because in Denmark they smuggled the Jews out so that like Nazis wouldn't catch them and send them to Auschwitz and stuff. So he did it with respect to the Jewish people. Sorry to the Haagen-Dazs
No,
Corporation,
but they
and
got
sorry to the
behind another.
Danish.
No, but the Zionists got behind another ice cream brand. I know I saw this. See, we're very prepared today. Um, Sam, you're gonna have to look this up. So Ben and Jerry, they take the ice cream out of the. They're not saying Israel, Sam, or is it just in occupied Palestine?
So yeah, it's not in because yeah, Israel obviously is a contested. A lot of its lands are contested and disputed. Occupied Palestinian territory is not considered Israel, so they're not going to end it in like Tel Aviv, but they will end it, I believe, in the West Bank and in Gaza. I'm not, but I'm not totally sure what it means. It's obviously, but it's my first thought was like, oh, okay, well, why are you selling the ice cream to people, who, probably have like some of the poorest people in the world anyway. But the other part of me was like seeing how angry the Zionists have gotten over this. They are taking it really badly. They are fucking pissed about the ice cream. So that maybe to me, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say that it's important because it made someone who I don't like upset. Like, I don't think that's what politics should be. I think you can view it as like an important, show of solidarity with the BDS movement. But it is kind of funny how much the Israelis are mad about this.
And reportedly, the Ben and Jerry's sales went up. That was actually reported, which is kind of funny because
Due to anti-Semitism.
definitely,
That's why
yeah,
people were buying ice cream made by two Jews.
yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the discourse on Palestine has it's sort of like gone to a low rumble, but I'm still seeing stuff. So maybe people are still kind of, or maybe people are forever changed in how they view this thing if they didn't have an opinion on it before, just because like celebrities started posting about it or something like, and maybe that's all we can get, and that's if that's the way you can spread a message as important as hey, Israel's doing some bad stuff over there, huh? Is pretty important. So even if it's like, I don't know, this is like the start of like maybe the next generation being better about this. I don't know. So you have to hope, right? It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
I have not been impressed with millennial politicians like who like Madison Cawthorn, like
Pete Buttigieg.
yeah, like
Did you see Pete Buttigieg complaining that like on his like $220,000 transportation secretary salary, he can barely afford his $4,500 one-bedroom apartment? Like, sorry, I live in DC and I don't live in a $4,500 apartment. Are you nuts?
Well, you get
Either
Jason to
way,
throw in a few bucks, huh?
yeah, get him out of here. Get him to get a job. Why are you like? But you know that Pete's keeping him under lock and key. Something about Chasten, his eyes seem like he wants to escape. But either way, back to the ice cream. I mean, it's funny how much people are responding to this. It's a bit of a litmus test. Of course, Dan, your illustrious lame duck mayor Bill De Blasio is claiming that he personally will boycott Ben and Jerry's over the Israel stance.
I'm gonna give that two thumbs way down. The thumbs are down. De Blasio, don't let the door hit your fucking ball sack on the way out. Fuck off, De Blasio.
Bill de
I didn't
Blasio, the
even.
only reason you're excited to see Eric Adams in office.
Oh, I'm not excited, but the De Blasio is funny because it's like there's no reason for the mayor of New York to weigh in on this.
No.
Ooh, also, can I tell you this? This is a weird thing. So the Miami building collapse, basically a huge condo collapsed in Miami a month ago, and I was reading about how they found the remains of the last victim, and it said specifically that volunteers from Mexico, Israel, and it was like listing like where the volunteers helping came from, and it was like specifically Israel. I was like, huh, I wonder why is Israel sent people to dig through the rubble in Miami, like right when the like fucking everyone was hating on them for torching Sheikh Jarrah and various other crimes against humanity in Palestine. So
Oh yeah, and I don't want to blow past, like we said that like Palestinian discourse around Palestine had kind of like gone to a dull roar, but it's not like things stop being fucked up over there. I like
well, no,
they
that's what that was kind of the point I was hoping to build towards, is like, you know, doesn't really, it still is not enough, but like hopefully, like, I don't know, like at least now it's a conversation that can be had, which is a step.
Yeah, but I mean, I just saw recently on Eid, happy Eid to all those who celebrate. There were like settlers or IDF forces, I can't remember which, like storming Al Aqsa Mosque again. So once again, like one of the holiest sites of Islam on one of the holiest days of Islam, and they're just doing it to like fuck with civilians. And that doesn't make the news, but like fucking people having meltdowns about the ice cream does. So I don't know. Maybe that's like an important thing to contextualize before we go into dunking on all the absurd reactions to this, like the Israeli American Council flying a banner over the Ben and Jerry's factory in South Burlington, Vermont. The banner says, "Serve ice cream, not hate."
Yes.
like, like this is like
Yes.
it's either like you actually pay attention to like what's actually the actual issue at hand, which is the treatment of people in Gaza, or you can just pay attention to this bullshit. Like fucking fly a banner over Vermont just to own the BDS people, or it's like social the social mediaification of all these issues is so brutal.
Oh my God, are you hearing that? There's some fireworks going on outside.
Nah, I'm not hearing a thing.
Wow, this mic is
We got the
good.
big pimp mics. I mean, they don't pick up anything that we don't want them to pick up.
Thank you to the Shure Corporation. This is not an ad. Good mics. Um, anyway, I don't know. What more is there? Do you have specific reactions that you pulled? Were there any other ones?
Yeah,
That's a pretty big, like pretty big step to get like the you get your marriage proposal in like a plane, you get like a big advertisement over like Coney Island or something on the 4th of July, or you can tell Ben and Jerry that they're anti-Semites.
imagine just like Ben and Jerry standing at the factory, and they look up, and like a single tear falls from their eye. Like I don't know what they were fucking trying to do with this. The one tweet that I really fucking liked is from Amichai Chikli. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't speak Hebrew. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
And he says, just Ben and Jerry's, you picked the wrong side. There's so many good ones. Like if you go down the replies on the initial when Ben and Jerry's initially posted that they were going to end sales in OPT, occupied Palestinian territory, this person, Sherelle Loom, replied, "The land of Israel belongs to the people of Israel forever. Eat your ice cream. We have already experienced worse anti-Semitism." It's
Sorry that
just
you
like,
can't have like Cherry Garcia, like, and without the knowledge that they disagree with you on the humanitarian crimes that your country is committing.
And everyone's like, oh, you're boycotting. So you're boycotting Jews. I see. I'm like, it's not even in Israel. It's in the occupied Palestinian territories, you fucking assholes. And like, I don't know. It's just so chaotic the way, like, they really will do anything to avoid talking about the actual human rights abuses. These people will lose their minds for like days over ice cream rather than allow any actual criticism or any kind of discourse about the terrible state of human rights in like Gaza and West Bank and Jerusalem. And it's just so shameful, honestly. And they expect us to like empathize with them as like, you know, as Jews, as like American Jews. And I'm like, you guys look like fucking buffoons. Like you're all losing your minds over ice cream. Like ice cream
Yeah,
that's made by two Jews. I don't know what to say.
empathize with it. How could like empathy requires a certain level of like, I don't know, pathos,
Yeah.
a certain element of like, oh wow, you're actually like you know, I emotionally can relate to you or something, but it's like not quite in this scenario. I can't relate to
Nah.
these butchers of, just culture, an entire culture, and you know, civilization that I mean,
It goes to show how low
it's
the
safe to say
stakes
that
are for them.
right, it's safe to say they preceded them in the area where they live, right? It's occupied because they live there.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. I don't know.
it's a topic you could talk about endlessly, but why don't we lighten the mood unless you got more on Ben and Jerry?
No, it's like the dog days of summer. We're going off to summer camp.
Yeah, let's is this the last thing in the show? This might be the last thing in the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's round it out with
all right,
this.
we're closing it out. We're going to talk about camp. I pulled a couple New York Times articles. One is titled 31 children test positive for coronavirus at summer camp, and this is at Camp Pontiac in Columbia County, New York. All children too young to be vaccinated. And this other one is camps have been scrambling for counselors. Some have even closed. So basically, the kids are getting sick. If they can't get the vaccine, they're getting sick. The counselors are all quitting. It's funny because you know what this reminded me of? Honestly, I watched the documentary about Woodstock 99, and this reminded me a lot of that. It was like the security staff at Woodstock 99. And this is that HBO documentary that like Bill Simmons did. Did you watch it?
I was gonna watch it,
Yeah.
but you know, Rachel was in the room, and like the first screen, it says like warning, this contains like graphic depictions of like sexual abuse, and she was just like, nah. And I was like, okay, I'll file that under things I will watch
You do
alone.
you do see Flea's penis.
Oh, well, I don't know. I feel like they were whipping it out all over the place
I
back
guess I
then.
forgot about that. I just
Yeah,
like
the
it was
socks on the
it was
dongs thing.
surprising to me.
It is
I
funny,
was never
but
a big fan of the Peppers. And there's one great line where the one of the founders was like, or one of the like promoters, Michael Lang, I think is his name, was like, um, we asked Anthony Kiedis to calm the crowd down, and instead they played Jimi Hendrix's like Fire or whatever.
yeah, that's a pretty amped up song.
When there were like fires, they had like burned fires at like there was fires like torching fucking stands and stuff. This was,
Wow,
I
and they were
believe, the
doing
last
cultural
day of Woodstock
appropriation
'99.
too.
Yeah, so okay,
Shameful.
summer camp. Not we see we could go on and on about Woodstock '99. Maybe that's worth a deeper discussion. But
Yeah, once I can like hide out and finish the thing.
um, so what's your take on some of these stories? I mean, it doesn't surprise me that much like the security guards at Woodstock 99, that a lot of summer camp counselors are quitting or they can't fill the jobs.
No, there's a big intersection of like stuff that's going on here. Is I mean, yeah. So there's been, as far as the counselors go, this is very much in line with the general freak out about like, you know, mom and pop businesses can't afford to pay people and more than, you know, they would get in unemployment. So there's all these people all these jobs that are being offered, and just nobody's willing to take them. No one's willing to work because everyone just wants to sit at home and collect a paycheck. And that's also like that's something that's going on here where like camp counselors, notoriously, like even in like boom times, make like fucking no money because it's assumed that it's for, young people to do and that they don't have expenses and that they're going to get their like lodging for the summer taken care of anyway. But it's mentioned there are plenty of counselors quoted in these New York Times articles who say basically like, yeah, I mean, fast food places are willing to pay you like $20 an hour these days, especially in like New York State or something. So why the fuck would I do this and like get COVID? I don't know. I mean, obviously you could get COVID
I
at the
mean, like,
fast food restaurant too, but then at least you're getting paid $20 an hour.
yeah, and I guess in terms of like, I still like think the trend is pretty much that kids don't get COVID that much.
No, but they also can't be vaccinated. So
So
they can get the Delta variant, which is like what we can't get because we are vaccinated, but everyone who's not vaccinated is going to get it because it's like way more transmissible. And that's what's like driving the big rise recently. Um, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, basically these counselors are like supposed to sign up to like get paid nothing to hang out with like a population of people who are very likely to get you sick in like close quarters at camps, which they don't really have great sanitary practices anyway. I mean, you're supposed to
no,
expect that like summer camp, you're
I
roughing
don't know.
it.
Have you been to sleepaway camp?
Absolutely.
I have as well. I can tell you one story about like a health thing. It was like one night they just had us sleep in a field. This is at the Jesus camp I went to for a week one year in like sixth grade, that summer. And they had us sleep in a field. I didn't know it was a Jesus camp until I got there. Um,
When you say Jesus camp, you don't mean like YMCA, right?
no, but it was like
I went to a YWCA camp.
they like read the Bible a couple
Okay.
times. And I was like, what the hell is this?
So you didn't
But
go to like the platonic ideal of like the Jewish summer sleepaway camp?
no, this was
I mean,
like
me either, but
I never did that. I feel like I missed out on something because a lot of Jews I know, that was a big part of their youth was the Jewish summer camp. But
yeah, I
no,
never
the
had it either.
so they had us sleep in like a fucking field, and then just like the ticks invaded the area. And
No.
one girl had like 30 ticks or something like on her person. They were just picking them out of her hair like it was fucking ants or
Had
something.
they like bitten her and they were like in the
I
skin?
think that they had to get all of them out individually with
Oh
tweezers.
God.
I think
I
I
would
was one of the
literally end myself. That's
I want to
horrifying.
say, okay, I have a memory that I was one of the only people who didn't get a tick that day.
Okay.
So, and I feel like I would remember if I got a tick. I have gotten a tick hiking since then, but I don't think I got any that day. But one girl got like 30.
That's
Can you
hell. That's
imagine?
fucking hell. There's always that one kid at summer camp who gets stung by like 50 bees and has to go home or
Classic.
suffers some other like life-threatening injury and like nearly dies.
Yeah, or just
Like,
has like some embarrassing bout of diarrhea or something.
well, that's my camp story.
Oh no.
Is that when I was 7, like on my way? I was like a little kid, like on my way to summer camp, and it was like an hour-long bus ride up to like Harriman State Park, in upstate New York. And I just remember getting on the bus and be like, oh no, like I'm not gonna make it. And like my dad had to come pick me up. And then he took me, yeah. And then like he's like, we'll just play hooky for the rest of
Oh,
the day. Don't worry about it. And he like bought me like a Happy Meal, and it had like the Wild Wild West toys from like the Will Smith movie.
oh,
But
nice.
that was definitely the worst camp story I had. But I don't know. As far as like kids getting like random ass illnesses or like injuries, this one kid got like punched in the temple, like lightly, like the way like 10-year-olds fight, and nearly went like died, like very like, or at least that's what the counselors were telling us. Granted, those people would always kind of build stuff up to bigger than what I thought it was, to more importance than I thought it needed. But either way, summer camp is just a weird place, and throwing like COVID into the mix just means it's going to get like 10 times weirder and of course more hoggish.
Absolutely. And I think I've told the story on the podcast before, but I literally had a fellow camper um assail me with I believe a plastic butter knife and say, just so you know, you piss me off, you die.
Was that the kid that you told the story on a previous episode about like finding a kid doing some kind of like bizarre like
It was the
occult
same kid,
ritual?
yeah. He
Oh
did the
god.
occult ritual where he had his like shirt off with his man tits hanging out. And he was like a skinny kid, but I guess he had tits. I realized, and then he was all pale and fucking, he's real Irish. And then he was drawing a pentagram on the floor just with his shirt off, with like his canteen of water.
Oh
So
Christ.
that's what I was dealing with at camp.
And
I
that's what
also
the counselors were actually dealing. You weren't dealing with that. You were just
no,
witnessing it. The counselors had to deal with it. And like all these
I also
articles
don't
are
envy.
laden.
Yeah, I don't envy that whole scene where they had to deal with that. Like, I wouldn't wanted that job. There's a reason
No.
why I never wanted to be a counselor or anything like that, because I don't want to deal with fucking shirtless weirdos drawing pentagrams with water on the floor. Fuck that.
I think like 90% of the people who take camp counselor jobs are people who like went to the camp when they were younger and kind of like want to do the nostalgia trip again. I don't know. But going through these articles, there's so many like quotes where people are like, yeah, I could before he quit, she said, what one woman's one of her son's counselors told her son that quote he could make more money working at Target. Like just all over this, there's like examples of like other jobs that these 18 to 22-year-olds or even younger sometimes could get that would like actually pay them, as opposed to going off into the woods to get COVID with a bunch of like the diseases that spread in camps are so those kids like don't wash and they're in the woods and they're not washing their hands and stuff. I remember like we had like regular bouts of like pink eye at the sleepaway camp I was at. Like they're like dusty. I don't know, like not to talk
Yeah,
shit on
it's a
all
very
summer
pink
camps,
eye
but
environment, for sure.
and there's something hoggish about the institution of like, your kids spend all year in school. And then as soon as you have to deal with them for like 2 weeks, you're like, no, I got to send them off to summer camp for 2 months so they can sleep away. And I'll pay some like, dipshit teenager to like take care of them. He'll get paid like $9 an hour. I will pay like $200 per day for this to purchase this package. Like there's something really hoggish and dysfunctional about the institution of summer camps in the United States, both like the fact that it's so expensive and also the camp counselors don't make any money, and also like disease just runs rampant. And I swear like half the kids are having like the worst times of their lives anyway. That's the way it was
Yeah.
for me. I remember being like in the middle of the school year and then like having nightmares about having to go to summer camp in like 3
Really? It was
months.
that
I was just like,
bad,
fuck
huh?
this. I just didn't want to go. Like it
So
was just like the same as school. I had to get on
it's
the
really
if you didn't
it's
sleep
really
over, you had to get
funny.
on the bus and go there every day. And like I said, it's like an hour out to Harriman. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, the
Yeah.
whole time I was just like, I don't want to do this. I just want to just like stay at home and like play video games and
So
shit.
the Jesus camp was just 1 week. And that was a sleepaway. And then this other one was a sleepaway that I went to. And this was not the Jesus camp. This was a different camp. And I would go for 2 weeks at a time and stay there. And it was genuinely very fun. But like it was like you like you were introduced when you went there to like actually like hiking the Appalachian Trail and doing the kayaking the Delaware Water Gap and canoeing and all that shit. So it was like, oh, I can actually do all this stuff, and it was an introduction to that. But if I was just like going somewhere local and like going back home it just wouldn't be like, what's the why?
Yeah, so I agree with you though. Like I learned how to like kayak and canoe, like and go fishing and stuff. Like hobbies I still do to this day. And I love hiking, and I probably gained some of my like enjoyment of the outdoors from those years. But that was like it was sort of like how you can have a good time at times in prison, but like you're still in prison. I don't know how to explain that. Like, but I would do like most of the summer I would do day camp for like 6 weeks and then like sleepaway camp for 2 weeks, which I don't know why we set it up like that. But the sleepaway camp was more fun, even though it was like more isolating. The like The day camp was the worst because then it was just like, yeah, getting picked up and then getting dropped off and just like, I don't know. It was just like, it was the school I had to go to when I was, over the summer. And they had all these like arbitrary rules about, you can't play Magic the Gathering
Why?
during like kickball period. You have to play kickball. And I was like, this is so fucking stupid. They just like told you
I thought it was
what
gonna be because
like
it was.
activities you had to do like hour to hour. And I was like, we were all just like, when can we play Pokemon on the Game Boy, and when can we play Magic the Gathering? Those are the only two things any of us wanted to do there.
I
I
presume that
don't know.
they
I've
banned.
obviously I love my kayaking and canoeing and fishing and stuff, but like, come on, if it was like arts and crafts, I was like, can we just fucking play Game Boys? This is so boring.
No, I presume that they banned Magic the Gathering because it is satanic in nature.
I mean, maybe, but I think they also were just like, can you kids like pay fucking attention and stop like yelling at each other about like cards and wizards?
Yeah. I don't know. So I would say it's if you're going to camp as a kid now, you're probably not going to get COVID, but like there's a chance. You're
Yeah,
not vaccinated.
apparently.
Yeah, there's a chance. But I would say if you're like, if you're a kid and you haven't been out fucking outside in a year, if you haven't been outside in a year, you're gonna want to go somewhere and do something, right? I mean, conceivably. So I understand that for a lot of people, the trade-off is worth it almost.
Yeah, and these parents were
I'm not saying that you're a hog if you send your kid to camp, but that's not true. I think that that's a very fair decision to make, especially because not everyone had the same, not everyone's going to Jesus camp or Sam's shitty camp. It's like some people are having actual fun.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean,
So
these parents were like dying to get their kids out of the house finally, honestly. Like that's why I feel like is feeling a lot of this desperation is like feeling like they were finally out of the woods, which I think a lot of people thought once the vaccines became, more widely rolled out. So I think that this flaring up is just a brutal reminder that I don't think a lot of people are willing to appreciate, which is the fact that this COVID stuff's, I don't know, it's not going to go away forever. It's always going to be there in like these ways. And it's, I don't know. It's kind of, I feel like that's like why there's been such a freak out about this, because also, I mean, of course, this is like prime New York Times material. It's like something that affects, middle to upper middle class people who can afford to send their kids to summer camp and, want to pay for the privilege of having a couple weeks to themselves, but are
I
finding that
feel
they
like
can't do it.
they sent multiple fucking push notifications about this. Like they're really pushing this camp beat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It's like it's like covering local school or something like that. Like everyone kind of has to pay attention to it anyway. So, if they have kids anyway, but, and of course, like some of the numbers in this was so funny. Camp Shane, a residential weight loss camp, very nice way of saying fat camp in Kent, Connecticut, closed abruptly after 10 out of 22 counselors left their jobs. It's like nearly half of the counselors. But I don't know. And to the camp owners, I
Nice.
don't know. Like I know it's expensive to like all the people who are sending their kids to these camps are paying you a ton of money. Just pay your fucking counselors. Like get over it. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Counselors probably deserve a living wage and lodging and food and all that shit. I don't see why they can't get all that. But hey, maybe the
Only in this
margins just are too
country.
tough when kids fucking spend thousands and thousands of dollars to go to camp. It's like, oh, really? It's like you don't have enough money to pay the counselors enough to fucking make it worth showing up. It's like,
Yeah, and I mean, like, why would you want someone who doesn't get paid like any money, someone who could make more money at like McDonald's or Target, like in charge of your kid's welfare? Like, what if your kid has like gets bitten by like a fucking snake or some shit, or like the bear comes through? Like, don't you want like these people to have like some level of like expertise, or don't you want to offer like some incentive? I don't know. It's kind of weird to
you're
me.
not supposed to suck out the poison, right?
I don't. I think that's only in movies.
Yeah,
It's cool, but it's only in movies.
it's cool. Are you
You are
supposed to
supposed to
you're
like yell at black bears to get them to run away, though, which I've never done, but it sounds pretty metal.
but if you get stung by a jellyfish, you have to piss on it, right?
No, no, you use baking soda and vinegar.
Huh. I thought
That's the way. That's what
urinates.
I've gotten. I got stung by a jellyfish at the beach I like going to on the Chesapeake like last year, and yeah, it was baking soda and vinegar, and you like rinse it, and you got to pull like the little needles out too. Fuck jellyfish. They're one of the worst things ever. They're like they don't even have like nervous systems, and they can fuck your whole day up. Not a fan.
You know, they look kind of cool. It's
Yeah, when they're
it's
far away, I guess. But
that guy who jacked himself off to death's brain that's still your fucking background looks kind of like a jellyfish.
yeah, it's kind of beautiful in a way, but
Look at that cortex. I don't even know what the cortex is. Um anyway, let's end it here. Follow me on Instagram at dspaventa to see my paintings and my paint streams, and fun announcement coming soon about a new painting project. And you can follow me on Twitter at spaventacular, and you can follow Sam on Twitter at wagstank, and you can follow Hog Planet on Twitter at Hog Planet. And Sam, anything else?
no, I mean just if you're gonna jack off, be careful. This could happen to you, apparently.
So I think that what you're saying is I shouldn't buy a boat.
You should also probably not buy a boat, especially if you're gonna be jacking off excessively on the boat. Because then it'll make it even harder for you to get medical attention when you stroke yourself into a stroke.
Well, what can I say other than this is Hog Planet. How do you shut this thing off?